Bonjour P6, comment ça va? Vous avez passé un bon week-end? I would like to explain today's lesson to you so that you can actually do your written work later on. Today's lesson is on different types of verbs that we call reflexive verbs. You can see from the endings that they are just not regular ER verbs. But you can also see something that I have written in red, which is a reflexive pronoun. Now, these verbs are just verbs which indicate you are doing something to yourself. For example, I get myself up, I shower myself, I dress myself. In English, you don't really have this type of verbs, except if you add oneself at the end of the infinitive. On the left here, you can see that the infinitive of a reflexive verb can be easily identified by the little se, which is a reflexive pronoun. And on its own, the verb laver would mean to wash. But if you add the se before, it means to wash oneself. So if you look on the right now, we remove the ER as we usually do with ER verbs. And not only do you add the correct endings, but you squeeze in a little reflexive pronoun. For example, je me lave actually means I myself wash, which in English you would say as I wash myself. The M will look familiar actually of the reflexive pronoun from the mon mamé or moi. And the te for after tu looks familiar as well from the first letter of tu. Then you have se after il, elle, and on. For nous, you just repeat the nous, so it becomes nous, nous lavons. The vous, you repeat the vous, vous, vous lavez. And the il and elle in the plural has the same reflexive pronoun as il or elle in the singular. Not only do you have to remember for reflexive verbs to put the reflexive pronoun, but you also have to be careful with the verb ending, the usual ER verb endings. These reflexive verbs, P6, are essential to describe your daily routine, as you can see at the bottom of my board. The first one is at the top right, se réveiller, to wake up. Then on the left, the next thing you do after you wake up is to get up, se lever. This one is slightly irregular with accents. I'll come back to that later. Then you have se brosser, either les dents for teeth or les cheveux for hair. You notice that you don't have to put the mes dents and mes cheveux since the verb is reflexive. We know you are brushing your own teeth and your own hair. On the right, you have a very important verb to get dressed, s'habiller, where you will notice that the se has become S apostrophe because the first letter of s'habiller is an H, silent H. If the verb started with a vowel, it would be the same thing. And you would, of course, do the same to me, which would become M apostrophe, te would become T apostrophe, nous and vous wouldn't be affected. Se préparer, a very easy verb to remember, to get ready. For example, le lundi, je me prépare pour aller à l'école. Se promener, to go for a walk. You may have heard the word promenade before. And se coucher is the last verb you use to go to bed. For example, à quelle heure tu te couches le soir? At what time do you go to bed? In the evening. Now, I would like you to take a screenshot of this board to copy the top part on your last verbs page using a red pen when I use mine, and to copy the vocabulary in your vocabulary at the back of your book. I will add a few more once you get used to those so that you can describe your daily routine. For example, se doucher, to have a shower, and se baigner, to have a bath, are some other verbs which you will see later on. Now, if you have taken a screenshot, I'm moving to my book where you have some work to do for me here. Reflexive verbs, it's just a reminder of what I have just explained to you. At the bottom, they're giving you the words you have to use on these lines. And how you're going to be using those words, in what order. Now for the questions, at what time do you go to bed? Please start your question with tu te couches à quelle heure? The à quelle heure, you can see that the one dash for a is right here instead of at the beginning. So this is one of the pieces of work I would like you to do today. And secondly, on this page, you have la journée de Stéphane, Stéphane's day, how his day is going, developing, the routine. I would like you to use 2 different colored pens, one to circle the reflexive verbs. For example, first sentence, je me lève à 7 heures. So je me lève is the verb group. You can circle that in one color. But on the second line, you can see je vais dans la cuisine. This one is not reflexive. You don't see a reflexive pronoun. It's a normal verb the way you've learned them so far. I go into the kitchen. You can't say I go myself. So obviously, and you will do the same for the bottom exercise, one color for reflexive verbs, another for non-reflexive verbs. So you might get confused that you will think all verbs are reflexive. How will you recognize them? As I said before, from your reflexive pronouns. Not all verbs can be reflexive. You couldn't say je me mange, I eat myself, or je me vais, I go myself. So the verbs you have learned so far, which are non-reflexives, are always going to stay as they are. But some verbs, like those, can be used to reflect to the person who is talking. Can you all repeat after me? Je me lave, tu te laves, es is silent, il, elle, on se lave, nous nous lavons, vous vous lavez, and il or elle se lave, remembering that the ENT is silent. In your exercise book, I would like you to conjugate the verb s'habiller so that you show me that you have understood to put the M apostrophe, T apostrophe, S apostrophe when you conjugate the verb to get dressed. Je m'habille, tu t'habilles, il or elle, on s'habille, nous nous habillons, vous vous habillez, il or elle s'habille. With this video, of course, you can pause and rewind, try to listen a second time if I have confused you, and leave me some comments if you think you have a question that I can answer. You can also email me. Okay, and so I will just let you get on with your work. Bonne journée P6. Au revoir.